Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Product Content Syndication with Stibo Systems PDX, hosted by Nexer Data Management and presented by Lisa Bernardo, Client Services Team Lead on the PDX. Nexer is a global tech company from Sweden with around 3,000 employees and a presence in 16 different countries across the world. Nexer Data Management is one of 11 specialized business areas at Nexer, and we focus on MDM, PIM, and product data exchange, as well as integration and configurations on the Stibo Systems STEP platform, which we have been working with since 2011. Since 2022, we have also been Stibo Systems outsourcing partners on the Stibo Systems PDX platform, which is what today's webinar will be all about. So over to you, Lisa.
Great, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm a Client Services Team Lead here at Nexer Data Management. Today I'll be showing you Product Data Syndication, aka PDX, an alternate to logging into various different vendor portals for each of your retailers for item setup and maintenance. Product data syndication should be fast and easy, and the process should be the same regardless of the retailer that you're sending data to. Unfortunately, that's not always the case for all of you here today. With PDX, it can be made very simple. Select the products you want to syndicate, check the attribute values and fill in any missing requirements, correct any errors, do a final validation to confirm requirements are met, and hit submit, and we're done. This is how fast and easy it can be after your initial setup. This setup only takes a few hours depending on how complete your data is and the complexity of the transformations that you need to put in place, and we're here to help. Let's hit rewind and walk through the entire process from end to end. So where does life start with product data syndication? For many of you, that starts with data sitting in a PIM, an ERP, or some other upstream system. For others, that product data may simply be sitting in spreadsheets. To keep things simple today, we're going to use a spreadsheet import. Your spreadsheet contains all of the pertinent details to market and sell your products. Here's a quick look at a sample. Along the top row are the field or attribute names, which can be labeled in any way that works for your organization, and each subsequent row represents a single product. The only requirement is to have a unique identifier that will remain consistent for each item. You can use whatever type of unique ID works for your organization. As a best practice, we usually recommend using a UPC, GTIN, or a part number. As you can see, this spreadsheet contains everything needed to describe your products with information like weights, measures, pricing, marketing materials, bullet points and copy, and links to digital assets. So let's import our spreadsheet, which is a very easy way to get your product data into PDX. Click on the Import Data button, select your spreadsheet, and PDX will ingest and analyze the data to catch any formatting errors. If you have split up your data into multiple tabs on your spreadsheet, for example, a tab for assets and a tab for marketing data, those tabs will be presented to you here so you can choose which one to import. The import mapping screen will show how your spreadsheet data is being imported to PDX master data, which you can review to ensure your attribute columns are being pulled in properly. If everything looks good, we can go ahead and click Apply to import. Okay, we have imported the data from the spreadsheet, and now we can go to the master data area of PDX where all the data for your products will be stored. You can search for and filter your products in a variety of different ways, like by attribute values, a range of IDs, or imported date. I'm going to filter by a list of IDs, and here are the items that we just imported. The default list view, which we are now seeing, gives you a quick glimpse of your data with a few attribute columns which can be set to show each user the information that they would prefer to see in this view. Changing to the grid view will show the attributes for this set of items, which is a reflection of the spreadsheet that we imported. Now that our product data is imported and looks good, we can start sending products to the channels. The channels are the retailers and marketplaces that you do business with. PDX syndication can connect to data pools, retailers such as the Home Depot and the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, and marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart. We support all of your syndication needs from a single dashboard with a consistent process regardless of target channel. PDX manages these syndication channels for you, keeping them current with their ever-changing data validations, category changes, and revisions that retailers are constantly making. Having us manage those channels for you really helps your business focus on the data you need to go to market with without having to keep up with the latest requirements for each retailer. Today we will focus on the Home Depot, Amazon, and AFES. So how do we send products to the channels? We first select a set of items from the master data section and then assign them to the channel. In this example, I'll add them to the Home Depot channel. I can do this manually or let PDX categorize them for me based on rules that I have predefined. Automating channel and category assignment can help streamline the process, especially for vendors with large product catalogs. The retailer's category is extremely important because it determines which attributes and data validations are required for the items that end up in that category. For example, we may have to provide information about battery type in one category versus information about fabric type in another. So I've added my t-shirts to the channel, and PDX will now tell us what's empty and required, and will highlight any errors that may need transformations to get the items ready for syndication. The default view in the channel is again the list view with a few attributes displayed. When we change over to the grid view, we can see all of the retailer's attributes and requirements that must be met. The progress bar will let you know at a glance the status of your products in that channel and any flagged errors. We also share the detailed retailer definitions of attributes. Here, for example, the Home Depot's very specific product naming convention, which is unique to them in their process, is defined here, and we even provide an example of the formula for this category. This guides your team on what's required, ensuring accurate data every time you submit more products. A status of in progress means that there are some required attributes that have not yet been populated. We can filter down the attributes to only look at those by selecting empty and required from the filter menu and then completing the missing data. I can enter values here manually, or better yet, I can map my master data values to these attributes. For example, material is required, and I can point this Home Depot attribute to the column in my master data that I have for material. When I set this mapping, PDX remembers it and will apply my master data value to that attribute every time, making it one less thing I have to do. Here's another example with is this product sold exclusively to the Home Depot? I can map this attribute to a constant value of no, and I will never have to deal with this question again, saving me a lot of time. Those of you who have dealt with the Home Depot's quick sheets will know all too well that there are many questions that you have to answer every single time you onboard product data. This is often repetitive work where you always answer the question in the same way, so having this data pre-filled for you can be a huge time saver. Once all requirements are met, items will have a ready status but may still have errors that need to be corrected. We can filter to look at only the attributes that are flagged as errors by selecting errors from the filter menu. Here we can see that item weight is flagged as an error because it's missing a unit of measure. Rather than manually adding inches after the value for each item, we can apply a value transformation to automatically add the unit of measure for us each time. Just like attribute mappings, these value transformations are remembered and only need to be set once. There's a lot we can do with value transformations to ensure that your data meets your retailer's formatting requirements without having to make any manual edits to the data that you've imported. You'll continue this process across all of your product categories until all requirements are complete without errors. You can also drill down to a specific item and view it in detail. Here we can see that all of the attributes as well as any data we receive back from the retailer, including item and workflow status, any retailer assigned identifiers such as an OMS ID or an ASIN, and process notes. This allows you to understand the item's progress without having to reach out to your buyers or merchants. Some of you may deal with products that involve a slightly more complex setup. If you're familiar with the term super SKUs, you'll know how difficult they can be to deal with, and PDX can help. A super SKU is the term that Home Depot uses for product families, and PDX supports the creation and syndication of super SKUs. Simply select the items that belong together in a super SKU, go to the action menu, and use the group function. That's it. When this group is sent to the Home Depot, it will create the super SKU and the super SKU items. Now that we know these items are ready and meet requirements for the Home Depot, let's see how they're looking in other retail channels like Amazon and AFES, where we have to conform to different sets of requirements. The process here will be very similar. Map, find empty and required attributes, find and correct errors, send to channel, and check on status. Here I'm using the search features to quickly and easily find the items in the Amazon channel. The items have already been added to the channel and are in the appropriate Amazon category. Let's look at the errors flagged by Amazon and how they vary from what we saw in the Home Depot channel. Here we can see that Amazon does not want the $ before the list price where Home Depot did, and they want the country of origin in a different format. Because PDX Syndication manages these attribute requirements for you, you don't have to worry about storing values in all the different ways your retailers want it. The data is simply transformed and remembered for that channel. Let's repeat this process in the AFES channel to see what varies in the requirements from the Home Depot and Amazon. Here we can see that AFES wants the unit of measure for dimensions written out as the full word, whereas Home Depot wanted the abbreviation and Amazon wanted the numerical value only. We can fix this error with a simple value transformation, which again is always remembered. To syndicate our products to a retailer, we simply follow the same process we saw earlier. PDX will guide you through the missing and incorrect values, and you can map the attribute values to the ones that your retailer wants. If there are attribute values that you don't have, you can enter them here, or you can enter them on your spreadsheet and re-import so that the data is in your master data and you can map it, or by adding constant value mappings. When your progress bar is complete, it will show a ready status, which means that the products are ready to be submitted. PDX will run a final validation to make sure everything looks good. Once submitted, they'll continue on to your retailer and move through their internal workflows to get them published for sale. Now that we have looked at syndicating items to the Home Depot, Amazon, and AFES, let's talk a little bit about the channel overview. From here you can see your list of retail channels and the status of your products within each one. The channel summary helps you see what's going on with your various products and helps you prioritize where you need to focus your team's attention. We have so far talked about and looked at data attributes, but digital assets such as images and documents are of course a very important element in your product data syndication. Digital assets and documents can be added to products and syndicated. Simply upload them with your items, which you can do manually or by including the asset URL in your import spreadsheet, and PDX will go through and fetch them. Whether you upload the digital assets by folder or fetch them by URL, you can make all of the information about your assets available in an easy upload, keeping them connected to the relevant product data. Digital assets are not limited to images. You can also upload PDF instruction manuals, warranty documents, etc. So far, we've been talking about retail channels that PDX updates and manages for users. These tend to be for large, big box retailers and marketplaces. The good news is you can also define your own channels. Suppliers often need to provide product data to retailers and distributors that are smaller or less sophisticated than the likes of Home Depot and Amazon and don't have APIs that we can connect to. This is where configured channels play a key role. These are channels that you build yourself and allow you to create your own retail channels that you can exchange product information with retailers and distributors in the exact format that they require using the same attribute mapping concept that we've discussed. The key here is once built, your teams follow the exact same process for adding and adjusting data that we saw earlier. Configured channels allow you to create custom spreadsheet outputs as well as XML and JSON outputs for those that require it, allowing for the delivery of data and integration with just about any e-commerce platform and any pre-configured spreadsheet your retailer may need you to fill out. PDX ensures the data is correct and the products are exported in the correct format. If you're a broker that syndicates products to big box retailers on behalf of numerous brands, we also have specific features to help you do that much more easily by connecting accounts in such a way that users can hot switch between working on one brand to working on another without any tedious logging in and out of different accounts. Access to specific accounts can be allocated to ensure that the right people have access to the right accounts, and each account has its own dedicated master data and set of channels. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I could show you so much more, but we've covered the core capabilities when it comes to delivering data using PDX. I'll sum things up by saying that PDX supports the sharing of your data to all the retailers and marketplaces you do business with, helping you manage, validate, and enrich those products and improve your speed and efficiency in this crucial last mile for your products. That's it for our demo today, so we'll open it up to any questions that we can answer. Thank you. So we have a few questions here that we'll run through quickly. The first question is, do we have to set attribute mappings every time we add items to a retail channel? No, you do not need to set attribute mappings every time you're adding items to a retail channel. Attribute mappings are set only the first initial time that you're adding items to a new channel, and they hold across all of your items and categories. The only exception would be if you have category-specific attributes that you may not have come across yet. And value transformations also work the same way. They are remembered and applied to all items after being set. The next question is, how do we add images and documents? So you can add images and documents to your items in PDX via spreadsheet import using either file reference paths and then uploading the image files from your desktop, or by using image URLs that would link directly to your images. So in this example here on the spreadsheet that we looked at earlier, we were using image URLs. So these are URLs that link directly to images, but we do have guides in the digital assets section of our FAQ articles on how to do both processes. The next question is, what happens if an item is rejected or needs to be updated? So item statuses are visible in PDX and will show rejected or returned with corresponding process notes. And that can be found by going to any item detail page, which you can see here. So if an item was rejected or returned, that would show as the status bar. And then you'll also have corresponding process notes in the product history. So it's always very clear what needs to be done to your items before they can be resubmitted. When items are fully accepted by the buying or merchant team, the status in PDX will show a green accepted status, and you'll know that your items are complete. Okay, and the last question here, do we have to have every requirement on our spreadsheet before we upload items to PDX? No, you do not need to have every retailer requirement on your master data spreadsheet before adding items to PDX. There's a lot that we can do with constant value mappings when the response will always be the same across all items, or with value transformations if you have some other piece of information that we can key off of and then use value transformations to meet the retailer's attribute requirements and formatting. You can also import your master data spreadsheet as many times as you need. So if you find that there's an attribute column with additional information that it would make sense to add, you can go ahead and add that after the fact and re-import your spreadsheet, and that will add the new column to PDX as well. Okay, so that concludes our Q&A section. Hopefully that answered some frequently asked questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Lisa. That was it for today's webinar about the Stibo Systems PDX. And for any inquiries, don't hesitate to reach out to our sales director, Jason Huizenga. jason.huizenga@nexergroup.com.